Hello students. Today I am going to talk about the another different unit of your surface preparation technique, which comprises with the multi-metal plates. So from the various lectures of your previous classes that I have already discussed, from there you have already get an idea that what are the aspects of creating a egg aluminum plate, wipe-on plate, as well as how PS plates has captured the market based on that analog PS plates as well as the photopolymer PS plates. Now, another several trends that has been practiced in several US markets as well as the European markets. That trends is to follow the high runnability and create a good reproduction of your image over the printed substrates. So in this particular period or in this particular function, that the multiplater metal plates that has been widely popular. So multi-metal plates, it also has a specific range of its own market. Like nowadays we will see that there are several types of your plates, like your digital offset plates, that is also in the market. There are also some plate makers, they also still practices the conventional methods of plate making. In similar fashion, there is a one segment that is also used for the multi-metal plates, where the artwork, repetition of artwork is very heavy, and the run length of that impressions are much on the higher side. So based on that, the multi-metal plates also has its own area of discussion. So within this particular context or in this particular lecture, I am going to talk about mostly the bimetal plates and trimetal plates, which have been used in this flexography method for a quite long. So why multi-metal plates? Despite the long run length and excellent lithographic properties of modern surface plates, multi-metal plates have held their own market. It can be used as negative working or it can be used as a positive working multi-metal plates. So the bimetal or multi-metal plates, it's basically composed of two metals or maybe more than two metals, which may form, one may form your image area, another one may form your non-image area. The metal forming the image area selected for its ability to take the ink, and the metal forming the non-image areas is selected for the ease with which it is wet by water, water, and its ability to desensitize the ink under the same conditions, which render the image metal ink receptive. To simplify this discussion, basically the two metals which will be referred, which can be used for the multi-metal, that may be your bimetal, or for the trimetal there will be one another base metal. So it means it's very clear from the very beginning that one metal which is oleophilic in nature, another metal which is your water or hydrophilic, water loving or hydrophilic in nature. So based on this discussion, normally copper is used for your image areas, and for chromium, stainless steel, normal steel or aluminum is used for your non-image areas. But for the case of your bimetal and trimetal, we have seen that most plate makers, they obtained chromium as a non-image metal mostly, and for the case of your image area, they choose, all plate maker they choose the copper. Apart from copper, there is also the chances of your using brasses. There will be another chance which can also be act as your image area for these multi-metal plates. Now there is a question that can come to your mind, that why copper? Why not other material? Because in your previous lecture we have seen that aluminum is great for the base metal, but why we choose or obtain copper? Because copper has a very good oleophilic nature. So it means it will catch up the ink. But if you clearly understand that why we choose aluminum, because we choose aluminum as a base metal. But in order to create a image area and non-image area, we have to rely on either coating or we have to rely on that developing ink or lacquer which we have been used for the cases of your deep etch plate making. But here, there after the finished product, there is no coating layer will be present over the plate. Either one metal that will separate it from the another metal, and based on their behavioral expertise or function or properties, then they will segregate that which one will be treated as your image metal and which one will be treated as your non-image metal. So the choice of metal is completely based on the use of your contact angles, and you have already know that from the very beginning of your material science classes that we choose, or every metal, it for the cases of your lithographic series, it has their own version of weightability, and all these factors are rely on the contact angles. So it means that use of contact angles, it has helped to determine that what metals are the best for image and non-image area respectively. So based on that PIRA research of your contact angle, in that series, the test which has been shown that if they put that oleic acid, 5% oleic acid with paraffin solution, they have dropped that oil over the plate within a immersed water solution, and based on that the contact angle, they have been choosing the lithographic series of metal. So the contact angle, how we create that contact angle? So a drop of liquid, if it's placed on a well cleaned piece of metal, if a tangent line is drawn to the surface of the drop of at point where it touches the surface of the metal, the angle between this tangent line and the surface of the metal is called contact angle. So if you clearly see this particular picture, so that is the one base metal. Over there a drop of liquid has been poured. If this tangential line is less, then we can say that liquid has been sprayed over the plate. It means the plate has a good weighting ability with compared with this particular liquid. Now if that liquid is water, then we must say that this particular metal is your hydrophilic in nature, and if that drop of the liquid is related to your oil, then we must say that this particular metal is your oleophilic in nature. So based on this contact angle, it determines the characteristics of the particular metal. A small contact angles, it indicates that metal is very easily weighed by this particular liquid. So for the case of your copper, if we put the particular of that 5% oleic acid over the paraffin solution over this particular copper metal, then the contact angle is less. But similarly, if we put a drop of water over the same plate, then maybe the contact angle is very high. So based on this contact angle, the plate maker, they obtain based on that series that they have been chosen that image area. For the case of your multi-metal, they will go for copper plate, and for the case of your non-image area, they mostly choose either stainless steel aluminum or zinc or maybe the chromium. So this is the part where the choice of metal affects or to select for the cases of your lithographic plates. Moving on to the next slides, for the case of your multi-metal plates, first I am going to talk about the bimetal plates. The bimetal plates, there are theoretically there are 4 types of your bimetal plates. So number 1 is your type 1. So type 1 plates, which mostly considered as your surface type bimetal plates. there are basically two types of your type 1 bimetal plates. One is your Oller plate, another one is your Lithengrave plate. So that is the your kind of commercial name for this particular plate. So for the case of your Oller plate, the copper image metal should be placed over the stainless steel non-image metal. And within the same fashion, for the case of your Lithengrave plate, copper image metal should be placed over the aluminum non-image metal. So based on that, we can distinguish between the Oller plate and Lithengrave plate, where the base metal which is your act as your non-image metal. If it is stainless steel, then we obtain for your Oller plate. If it is aluminum, then we obtain for your, we call that as your Lithengrave plate. Now for the case of your type 1, so type 1, for the case of the type 1 is like an image metal is electroplated on a plate of a non-image base metal. So if you check this particular schematic diagram of your type 1 bimetal plates, then that non-image metal which is act as your base metal, and over there that copper image metal has been electroplated, and this multi-metal will be coated by an acid resist. So this is your coating material, which is mostly your bichromate gum deepage coating solution. It means one part of your ammonium bichromate with having of your 4 part of your gum arabic. So within this colloidal solution, that has to be poured over the plate, and then it must be negative must be placed over the plate, over the coating basically. Now when the plate maker started the exposure, obviously the exposure will be in the range of your ultraviolet region. So within that range, the light passes through the image area. Once that it passes through the image area, it will harden the coating. So it will harden the coating of your image area. So after the exposure, while development, we check that the unhardened coating material that has been removed from the non-image area. So it means since the image metal, which is the copper of the non-image area, that is become visible. So it means the copper which has been present over the non-image area, it's become now visible. So now you will get a very clear idea that you need to somehow remove the copper from this particular non-image area. So what you gonna do? You have to do etching. You have to do the copper etching from the non-image area. So once you etch the image metal from the all image areas, now you will get visible that the base metal, which is your, for the case either it's stainless steel or either it will be your aluminum. So once you have been etched, then from the non-image area the copper will be removed. Obviously there is a certain consideration that has to be taken care, that during the etching, that copper should not etch the lateral wall of the image area. That precaution has to be taken by the plate maker, as well as what are the timings it required and what are the strength of this copper etching chemical, that has to be known. So after copper etching, what will happen? Finally the hardened coating or that hardened acid resist, that has to be removed from the image areas, and once it is removed, the image area is rubbed up with the ink. It basically sensitizes the copper to withhold, or it increase the your ink receptivity. So based on that, this is the particular structure or particular function of your plate making process of your type 1 bimetal plates. Now I am going to discuss at very deep of your bimetal plates. So bimetal plates of your type 1 are available with the copper with the protective gum. So when it comes, either the plate maker they can create the coating, or they can come from any plate manufacturer with having that pre-sensitizing coating over this particular plate. These bimetal plates are similar to the surface plates because they are made from negative, and because of their copper image areas they are slightly raised above the non-image area. However, the process materials used in this particular plate making process, that's making them are much as the same as for your deep edge plates. So the following steps that has been briefly described, like that came to the plate maker, it's similarly like your surface plate, but the process of this similar fashion like etching or other steps, that is mostly your same as your deep edge. That is the beauty of making your multi-metal plate. So first step is always been a counter etching. So the copper coating of the plate is cleaned by the counter etching with any dilute acid. That might be your nitric acid, that might be your sulfuric acid. Anything can be used for your counter etching. So if we choose sulfuric acid, then that 5 or 4% your dilute sulfuric acid solution will give you the good treatment of your counter etching. Next, the coating. The clean plate is coated with the usual way of your regular deep edge coating solution and dried. So obviously if it is made by the plate maker, then they have to choose the wire plate coating maker. So the same technique and precautions are used with the deep edge plates. Since most of these plates are relatively smooth, coating solution with lower density should be used. Otherwise the dried coating may be too thick. So it means it's again depend on this particular 6 plate making variables, one of which is the thickness of your coating layer. So then that has to be practiced. Then the exposure. The exposure means the coated plate is exposed through a negative with a GATF sensitivity guide which has been attached. Generally the higher guide numbers are used than the deep edge or the surface plates. It means these particular multi-metal or bimetal plates, they require a longer exposure because they have to create this hardened acid resist. So it means there is a 1 or 2 steps should be higher than the normal steps that has been followed through creating your egg albumin plate making process or normal deep edge plate making process. Next, the development. The plate is developed with deep edge developer to remove the unhardened coating from the non-image areas. The sensitivity guide and the manufacturer's instruction that should be followed carefully. Next, the copper is removed from the non-image areas by the means of your special etch. So mostly we know that for the case of your copper, the plate maker they have to choose either ferric chloride or they have to choose the ferric nitrate solution to etch the copper from the non-image areas. So those particular special etch that may have the small effect over the stainless steel or aluminium underneath. So the etch on your stainless steel plate is essentially help with your ferric chloride. For aluminium based plate, that might be ferric nitride. Next, the part is your cleaning. The unhardened coating which protects the image areas is removed by scrubbing of the stencil with a soft bristle brush and the nitric or sulfuric acid counter edge, or sometimes we can choose normal warm water. So this is the part of your development. Next, the sensitizing the copper. Finally the copper image areas are sensitized to the ink with sulfuric or nitric counter etch, or one of the several proprietary products on the market that's specially designed for this particular purpose. In addition, this product will serve dual purpose of removing the stencil or rendering the copper ink area receptive. And after this particular application of your sensitized of your copper plate, then the image areas or the it will be all the plate will be your desensitized or it will be gummed up. So those are the basic process, the in-depth process of your type 1 bimetal plates. So this is the schematic structure which I have been already showing you. Now moving ahead to the another type of your bimetal plates, that is your type 2 bimetal plates, which is a part of your subsurface plates. Though the plates are which I have been showing you, that type 1 is your surface type plates, because that I can say because the image area or the image metal layer is slightly raised over the non-image metal. But for the case of your type 2 plates, I can say that the non-image metal is electroplated on your image metal. So that means the base metal is your image metal and the non-image metal is placed over that. So we can say that the image area is slightly recessed. So this type of plates, the total process is mostly same as your gum deepage. So for the case of your type 2, the non-image metal, that is electroplated over the image metal. So for the case of your non-image metal, we choose chromium and the image metal is always same, that is your copper. So the non-image chromium metal is electroplated on your copper image metal. So based on that, a negative image that has to be formed. It means the plate maker, they will choose the positive. So for the first, either plate maker they have to create the coating or they can buy a pre-sensitized type 2 bimetal plates from the market or from the plate manufacturer. After buying that, they have to be placed the positive over the coated side of this particular plate and they have to start the exposing. So once they will start the exposing, it will seem that the non-image areas that is going to be hardened or that is going to be acid resist. So once the non-image area is going to be hardened, it means it creates a negative image over the coating. It means the non-image area is going to be hardened. So once that non-image area is hardened and exposure has been done, then within the help of your developing process, plate maker has to remove the unhardened coating material from the image areas of your non-metal. So once that has been done, then the plate maker they has to apply the chromium etch solution in order to remove the non-image plate metal from the image areas. So the non-image plate metal is etched away to lay bare the image metal in the positive image areas. So while it started with etching, so plate maker should be very cautious because they need to clean the total chromium layer over the copper image metal. So this, after that, once that has been done, that chromium etching has been done, then it can be seen that the bare copper metal, image metal, that has been visible over the image areas. Finally, the protective stencil which has been placed over the your non-image areas, that has to be removed. So once that resist has been removed, it is clearly distinguished that this copper area, the image layer which is slightly recessed, and the non-image area is slightly over the image metal. So based on that we can create the type 2 bimetal plates. So now I am going to detail discuss that this particular type 2 subsurface plates, that what type of things we required. For the case of your regular bichromate gum deepage coating solution that has been poured over the non-image metal and dried down, then that coated plate that has been exposed with the positive, once that has been exposed with the positive, it means it will create a negative image over the non-image area. And also for the case of your, if the plate maker has seen any kind of unexposed borders or any other unwanted areas that is been very clearly visible in the exposed plate, those unwanted areas can be stopping out with shellac or lacquer. So this stopping out process is the very similar like your deep etch plate making. After that, etching has been done through the chromium etch to see the copper in the image areas corresponds to the deep etching operation. To do this, a special chromium etch is required. So this is the particular ingredients what a plate maker must use in order to create a chromium etch. So for the case of your chromium etch, the plate maker they use 32-degree Boehme strength of your ammonium chloride solution, and that has to be taken about your 750 cc, along with the zinc chloride having your 360 gram, and with that they require 85% phosphoric acids, and that's to be taken only about your 40 cc. So this is the particular chrome etch solution that has to be poured over the plate, and it will start etching the chromium from the image area. So removing the chromium etch from the copper image area is being done, and after this has been done, then the plate has to be washed with anhydrous alcohol for your 2 or 3 times. Otherwise, if that chromium etch that has been present, then it will start lateral etching of the non-image metal or the non-image areas. So that is why this anhydrous alcohol is required. So after this, the image area is immediately coated with your asphaltum containing oleic acid and developing ink to remove the gum stencil. So that has been used, immediate coated, or another method is to omit the alcohol wash. After etching, immediately remove the gum stencil and then treated the copper image areas with dilute ferric nitrate solution and rub the image areas with the ink. So this is the basic process to sensitize the copper image metal on the image areas, as well as it will immediately remove the presence of your chromium etch, which may this will may prevent the lateral etching of your chromium. After that, the gum stencil or the hardened stencil which has been present over the non-image areas, that has to be removed by the help of your warm water. And for this process, the plate maker may use scrubbing with the little brush, or they can use any cotton swab. So this is the process of making type 2 bimetal plates. Now this type 1 and type 2 is very popular for the case of your bimetal plates, but clearly you must remember that I have been already said that there are theoretically 4 types of bimetal plates that can be processed, but apart from these 4, the type 1 and type 2 is very much popular. Why? That I will discuss in the later, because theoretically it's maybe sound correct to produce type 3 and type 4 bimetal plates, but practically when the plate maker they are trying to create this type 3 and type 4 process, they will find some difficulties. I'll discuss that in later. So for the case of your type 3 bimetal plates, it has been clearly shown that image metal is slightly recessed like your type 2. It means that is also the part of your subsurface plate. So for the case of your type 3, that acid resist positive has been formed over the layer of your image metal. So it means over the image metal that acid resist has to be produced. It means the non-image area, the coating will be unhardened, and the image area, the coating will be hardened. So after developing, the unhardened coating material of your non-image area that has been washed away, and then they have to put this plate in an electroplating process where the non-image metal has to be taken placed. That may be mostly your chromium, or that may be any other metal, non-image metal. So after developing the plate, the non-image areas must be electroplated with some non-image metal, and finally after placing this electroplating of your non-image metal, the hardened acid resist or coating that has been removed. So based on that, the type 3 bimetal plates that will create. So on this similar fashion, for the case of your type 4, that the coating will be applied over a non-image metal, and the image metal that has to be electroplated after the development. So when we choose this type 4 bimetal, we must choose the positive, because our intention to create unhardened image areas over the non-image base metal, and we have to remove this unhardened image coating, and we have to etch the image metal over there. So it form an acid resistant negative image on the layer of your non-image metal, and during the development, the unhardened positive or image areas will be washed away, and those areas are electroplated by your copper metal. So once that electroplating that has been done, then the plate maker can remove the acid resist or that hardened coating from the non-image areas. So it means that is the part of the image metal that is slightly raised over the non-image metal. So this is the basic steps of producing type 4 image metal. But as I have already discussed that bimetal plates, the type 1 and type 2, that is generally successful. Type 3 and type 4 are not that successful. The reason, first reason is difficulty finding photoresist that would stand up during that electroplating operation. No matter how much hardened coating you must produce during the process of your exposure, in the time of your electroplating operation, it's very difficult to presence of this hardened coating over the plate and to segregate this image and non-image areas. And it's very difficult to create that uniform electroplating layer of your image or non-image metal with presence of your hardened coating is not possible. So uniform thickness, to create this uniform thickness of your image or non-image metal which is trying to be electroplated over the base metal, it's very difficult. It means the uniform inability to obtain uniform electrodeposits of metal on non-image metal or vice versa. So it's very difficult to control. So plate maker, it can't have any control over this particular electroplating process. So it means these are two the prime reasons. That is why the most of the bimetal plate makers or plate manufacturers, they don't obtain type 3 and type 4 plate metal. Only in the market type 1 and type 2 plate metal is seen. Next, moving at to this particular bimetal topics. Now I am going to discuss about the trimetal plates. So trimetal plates, its results are better results in terms of your increase of your run length rather than your the bimetal process. So the trimetal plates, it's usually have a zinc, steel, stainless steel or aluminum base, and this plate is electroplated, first electroplated on one side with copper, then with chromium. So the thickness is electroplating process, the time of this particular electroplating process is also different. Based on this timing process, the thickness that has been different for the case of your copper image metal as well as the chromium non-image metal. Generally for a trimetal plates, we have seen that copper thickness, copper layer, it ranges between your 0.00001 to 0.0003 inch, and for the case of your chromium thickness as your non-image metal, it is your 0.00005 inch to 0.00007 inch. So it's very thin layer of your non-image metal as well as a very thin layer of your image metal layer that has been electroplated over the base metal. Now this is the schematic diagram. So the process of these trimetal plates is more or less same as your the process of your bimetal plate making. So for the case of your trimetal plates, the suppliers, it can furnish the trimetals either grained or ungrained. The ungrained plates are made by electroplating ungrained base metals. To grain trimetal plates, the base metals are first grained in the usual way, then electroplated with the copper and then chromium. The chromium layer on the trimetal plates is not like the bright chrome plating in an automobile bumper. Instead of that, it has a very dull matte appearance even on the ungrained plates. This is necessary for the plate to carry water properly during the printing operation. It means the coating of this particular chromium layer, that is a roughening, rough in structure, so that it can withstand with the addition of your water. It means the plate, the chromium is not so polished that we have seen in other purposes. So now I am going to briefly describe this particular schematic diagram, then later I am going to talk about all the steps in details. So in this process, I have seen that the plate manufacturer, either they can create the coating solution over the these particular electroplated trimetals, or they can buy the pre-sensitized trimetal plates from any plate manufacturer. So once the coating has been done over this particular trimetal, then the plate has to be exposed through a positive. So once the positive has been placed and started with the exposure, after the exposure, the plate maker, they can obtain that hardened stencil negatives in the area of your non-imaging. It means there will be application of your chromium etching that has to be done in order to see the image areas of from your image metal. So in the development, the unhardened stencil that has been removed from the image areas of your non-image metal layer, and during the chromium etching process, the your chromium layer that has been etched from your image layer of your image area, and after etching, what will have to done? It has to be sensitize the copper layer in the image area, since this area has been covered with the chromium plate. So that is why in order to increase the ink receptivity, the copper layer must be sensitized, and finally the plate maker has to scrub off the stencil from the chromium layer, which is the non-image layer, and based on that the your trimetal plate has been created. So now I am going to discuss the all steps of your trimetal plates. The plate treatment prior to coating. So trimetal plates, it come with your protective coating of your gum arabic on the chromium layer. This gum layer should be removed before applying the coating, or by scrubbing the plate with a brush under the running water. Under certain conditions, however, the chromium surface may need to be counter etched or chemically treated or chemically cleaned after the gum is removed. The supplier should be consulted regarding this and other chemicals that is required. Now the coating and drying the plate. The regular bichromated gum deep etch coating solution is used on the trimetal plates to procedure the light sensitive coating. For grain plates, the full strength coating is used, the same as for your grained aluminium plates. For ungrained plates, the coating should be a diluted water to make it thinner. Otherwise, the thickness of the dried coating will go on the plate and will be too great to control. Next, the good sharp positives are required, but for the best results, half tone positives should be made a little higher than the deep edges. By higher, it means that all tones should be lighter or sharper. The reason for this is that in etching through the chromium layer after the image that has been developed, there is a slight site-wise etching that enlarges the dot. So it means the lateral etching. So to produce the same tone values on the trimetal plate as on the deep etch plate, the half tone dots on the positive must be slightly smaller. It means if you have to produce 50% dots on the plate, then maybe the plate maker has to produce 40% dots on the film. If the same positive are used for your deep etch plate making, the half tone will print heavier or darker. It means dot grain will be very much visible. So the GATF sensitivity guide should be used, since it's an important control the exposure. The GATF star target as well as the GATF dot gain scale are also help to controlling this particular dot size. So it means it will help to prevent slurring as well as the doubling. Next, after the coated plate that has been exposed with the positive, then the plate maker must check whether there is any unwanted image, marks or borders that has been present. If that has been visible, then plate maker who's used a stopping out solution like your shellac or varnish or lacquer as your stop out solution. So these unexposed border and unwanted areas can be clearly visible after this particular exposure. So for the minor imperfections such as dark spots and tape marks, if that is clearly seen at this point, there can be stop out after the development. Next, plate maker have to develop the plate. The developer solution and the method of developing process are in every way same as the trimetal plates as per the aluminum deep etch plates. Use of GATF sensitivity guide is essential to securing this proper development. Then the etching through the chromium layer. The etching through the chromium layer to bear the copper in the image areas, the corresponds to the deep etching operation. To do this, a special chromium etch is required, which I have been already discussed in the chromium etch solution. A suitable etch and the proper instructions can be useful to obtain a good plate making result. After that, the step is your clearing the copper image areas. Removing the chromium etch from the copper image areas is done by washing the plate 3 or 4 times with anhydrous alcohol. In exactly the same way, cleaning the image areas on your deep etch plate. So it must be used and your anhydrous alcohol. Then the clearing the copper image areas. Remove the chromium etch from the copper image areas is done by washing the plate 3 or 4 times with anhydrous alcohol, and after that the plate copper, the plate maker has to sensitize the copper image layer, which may help to increase the ink receptivity. After the copper image areas have been washed with alcohol, they are immediately coated with a thin film of straight asphaltum or asphaltum containing a fatty acid like your oleic acid. From this point, the treatment may be vary, and it is best to follow the recommendation of your plate supplier. So this is the process of your sensitizing the copper, which a plate maker may follow. Next, removing the gum stencil. The gum stencil is removed by soaking the plate in the warm water and then scrubbing with a bristly brush in the same way like your deep etch plates. Finally, the desensitizing the non-image areas. Since the non-image areas on the trimetal or bimetal plates are chromium, which is very easily desensitized, there is no needed to remove residual stencil or give these areas any sort of your post treatment. Therefore, immediately after the scrubbing of the gum stencil, it can be applied the desensitizing plate edge and gum of the plate. So this is the process. Either there will be no identical pro treatment that has been present, or they can be chosen or create any other desensitizing method which helps them to create a good result. So this is the process of your trimetal plates. So now, based on this our discussions of your bimetal and trimetal of your multimetal plates, now I am going to talk about what are the advantages of using multimetal plates. So first advantage is it's very possible to use a plate free from or coating minimum grain. It means the plate, the graining is not that essential. Since the multimetal plates, the coating is not present in the final output, it's only segregated between your image metal and non-image metal, so it will help to increase the long run for the case of a metal hardness. And the image areas do not depend on the coating solution or any kind of organic lacquer. And the multimetal plates is very much unaffected by your UV lights. So all these factors which helps to plate maker to create this particular multimetal plates. Also, if plate maker they don't use any gumming process, then it will may not seem to this plate difficulty. It can control without any permanent damage. And also it requires less dampening solution than the other regular plates that requires. So these are the notable advantages of your multi-metal plates. Now the last content of this particular lecture, that what are the, apart from this all advantages, what are the disadvantages of your multi-metal plates. First, when you have to create this particular electrolytic process, it requires two set of metal, whether it's one set of your non-image or one set of your image metal. So it means while the plate maker is obtaining or plate manufacturer is trying to create this particular multi-metal plates, the cost will be on the higher side, and in order to produce this particular plate, it requires a specialized electroplating solution or equipment, and then the correction and alteration is not freely available, because once it has been done you cannot replicate or convert it, and finally it requires skilled plate gravers to process this plate. So whenever you see that there is some chances of your the create of these particular multi-metal plates, then you require a skilled photo maker or the plate maker. So in our today's lecture I have already covered with this type 1 to type 4 bimetal plates and the short description of your type 1 and type 2 as well as the type 3 bimetal plates. I hope you understand and you clearly thoroughly enjoy these particular slides. Moving ahead to another class, I am going to talk about the modern trends of your plate making. So happy learning. Thank you.